Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're going to be talking about more practical charts by Nick Deborah. Um, so, uh, and today's topic is going to be cycle plots. So, before we get started on that, though, I do want to say I had a chance to talk with Nick personally, one-on-one, over Teams, and where I was talking with him, I wanted to ask his advice about a separate project that I've got in the works. And he was nice enough to take time out of his day. And he's super informative, super nice guy. Um, and I just really appreciate him taking the time to offer me some of his advice and insights and that sort of thing. So good dude. And really appreciate his input. All right. So again, it's no secret I love these books. And there's a bunch of other, and I also asked his permission if I could continue to post videos about his books, and he said go for it. So we're going to be doing more of these as as we go along here, because I really enjoy these books and I really like taking the concepts he has them and trying to implement them in Power BI. Sometimes it's with good success, or sometimes I end up with PTSD afterwards, the shape size plots or shape size plot charts from the last video. Anyway, so today, cycle plots. Let's get into it. So cycle plots. What is a cycle plot? Well, a cycle plot is a line chart, but it's kind of arranged in kind of a clever way, right? So here's the example from his book. You can see it's broken out by weekday at the top, and then we have the week numbers on the bottom, and then the total donations per day, and there's little line charts broken out there. So pretty cool. And there's a number of the reason I want to do cycle plots is there's a number of additional examples that come later on in the book where I feel like I'm going to need this type of chart. Not maybe not necessarily line charts, but um, you know other things where I'm going to need something like this. So figured I'd get this one out of the way and figure out how I could implement this in Power BI. All right, so well, get out of Zoom mode, Greg. All right, so let's take a look, and here is kind of what I the first my first attempt at it. As you can see, it's not really. It's sort of close, but not really. But then I was able to actually accomplish it. You can see this one is very close to what Nick had in his book. So we're going to build this from scratch. I'll show you how to do it, and away we go. So we're going to start off with a line chart, and we're going to go ahead and size it up to the screen here. And so the way that you end up with you put in the weekday in the week in the x-axis, put the week in the x-axis, put our value in the y-axis, and so there you can see where we ended up with what I started with, right? So the problem with this though is we don't have any spacing. We have this separator, I guess, but we don't have any spacing in the line charts. So how do you get around this, and how do you get it to look like this right here? Well, luckily, Power BI this is fairly easy in Power BI. It's like, thank goodness. So what we can do here is we can actually use the small multiples feature, which is a relatively recent addition to Power BI, but comes in extremely handy here. So if we do that, now you're going to end up with this initially, right? Which looks nothing like what we want. But what we can do is come in here, and there are some really nice small multiple features. I give Power BI credit for this, right? So we can actually take this and turn the rows down to 1, and then up our columns to 7. And you can see we're already getting to what we kind of want, right? The important thing here, I think, is to adjust the padding. Well, we'll turn off the border first, right? And then we also want to take the x-axis, make it categorical, so that we get all of our 1, 2, 3, and all of that. And I don't think there's, you could go with this, but what I did was in the small multiples, I upped the padding to about 25, just to give a little extra separation between things. Um, and you can see we're already pretty close to where we want to be. Probably need to, there we go, adjust that so that these are a little more informative or a little denser, I guess you could say. And then we're going to need to turn off the title on our. So this is one thing, right? It's this repeating week is really annoying. We're going to turn that off. And there's no way to not make it repeat, unfortunately. I couldn't find a way to do that. I even tried, maybe I was like, maybe I can do title, and if I can push my title down to the bottom and center it, but there's no option under title to do that. It always has to be at the top. So that is unfortunate. We're going to turn that off anyway. Back to our visual. So we're going to turn off the title on our x-axis. We want to turn off the title on our y-axis because, again, we don't really have an option to show it like what Nick has, which is really kind of nice, is total donations per day. I really like this. And then week number down here. We're getting pretty close. So we can turn off that title as well. We can expand our values, turn our display units to none, right? And so that gives us our thousands, just like Nick has. We don't get the 0. So what I could do to get around that, and I don't think I did that on mine, but I could say a minimum, we could say our range is 0. And that, again, gets us even closer to what Nick had. So we have our $0 as our baseline, right? So we're pretty close at this point. These grid lines are not, they're dotted instead of solid, but we can fix that. So we can change that here to be solid. And so now we have an extremely close representation of what Nick had here, except for 2 little things that we could fix with some text boxes, right? So we can come in here, we can say, add a text box, say weekday or week number, I guess we could say. And then we're going to want to center that. Now, what we could do here is we could basically leave this text box just as wide as this and then center it. That way we know it's always in the center. We can adjust this font if necessary. Let me see how Nick has it in here. Week number. It's smaller than what he has up to here. I'm not sure if we really have control over whether those things are bolded or not. Let's see here. Small multiples. Title. That takes it away. So yeah, I don't know if maybe if we chose a different, what's our font here? Segovia UI. So again, we could mess around with this, but let's just go ahead and copy and paste this. And then what he has in his visual is total donations per day. If we want to emulate that, let's shrink that down. Throw it up here. Right, so I mean, that's pretty close. I'd say it's almost identical to what he has in his book. So good job, Power BI, right? We have seems like every other one we had either it's super difficult or it's fairly easy to get it done in Power BI. But there you go. Cycle plot in Power BI using just your standard out of the box line chart with the small multiple features, a few extra little tweaks here and there, and you can get it to look really, really good, I think. So that is all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.